Hello YouTube, it is I, Minku, here today, and I'm going to bring you my first video. And this time it's a character analysis from Assassination Classroom. From the main character of Assassination Classroom, Koro-sensei. Let's get started. My first thoughts on Koro-sensei were as follows. I don't know what to say, I'm surprised. Yet I instantly knew I was going to like his character. He was quite unique and different from your average anime character, which quite intrigued me, and I was so right. I really loved his character and enjoyed watching Assassination Classroom. It was one of the best anime I've ever seen. So now, let's learn what molded Koro-sensei into the man he is today. At first, Koro-sensei was born. He was a human who had grown up in the harshest environment where no one could be trusted, so he decided to fend for himself and became an assassin. He quickly learned that he was gifted from the very start, and so he assumed the name Shinigami, or God of Death. He assassinated many, but one fateful day, the target's son saw the beauty of assassination, asked Koro-sensei to train him so he could assassinate as well. One day, after several successful assassinations, the apprentice turned on Koro-sensei and decided to strike out on his own and escaped. Shocked and hurt, Koro-sensei was taken to have research performed on him, as he was captured and had antimatter planted to accelerate the growth of cells. There he met a new friend, Aguri, a teacher. Researchers soon learned that the antimatter could destroy 70% of the moon. They tested it safely by putting antimatter into space, in a space laboratory. Once the mouse cells died, it caused the moon to be damaged. So the scientists decided to do the logical thing and tried to kill him. Warned by his teacher friend, he decided to run away and asked his friend also to run, but in order to get out of the laboratory, he learned that his friend Aogiri had died. So she entrusted her, the class E end class, to Koro-sensei, and he pledged that he would help the students. And that is how he became known as Koro-sensei. Oh, just to inform you guys, Koro-sensei also means unkillable teacher. Now let's move on to his appearance. As a human, Koro-sensei's appearance is much like your average human male, with their average height, and has long black hair, black eyes. Usually appears in formal clothing, and wears a trench coat when performing assassinations, sort of like a detective. After the experiments on him changed his skin color to yellow and his face changed to the shape of a ball, the appearance of his face also changes depending on his mood. There are several different types. So, his normal face, like his yellow, and then his other face, which is coming up right now. And then there's also another face, which is purple with red X on him. I think it'll be coming up eventually. Or it passed. And if it's a right answer, it's the orange with the thing. You'll see a picture of all of his appearances eventually. So let's move on. Koro-sensei's personality is quite a bit complex due to his mood changes. He is also shown to be quite confident throughout the series, never showing sign of weakness and never giving up on his students, as they were a part of End class, aka the end of the school. They were considered the stupid of the stupid, the lowest of lows. And so, he intended to make his students very smart and made sure he was very resourceful. He would never let any student get harmed by anything, which makes him a very compassionate character. He also has the ability to somehow connect with every one of his students, co-workers, in some way. And one good example of this was when he helped one student to make a poison to assassinate himself. Makes him a strong character, and this makes him a strong character in terms of personality compared to most in shonen anime. Now let's move on. Koro-sensei is unrivaled when it comes to many things, including his extraordinary abilities and strength. Koro-sensei is also extremely smart and is able to teach every subject by himself and gets results. He can anticipate things far along, as like playing a game of chess. He can anticipate 50 moves ahead and can process things much faster than any human can. His ability to multitask is very efficient, as his brain is able to process information much quicker than the average human. An example of this was when he was marking test papers while going at the speed of Mach 20, which is equivalent to 24,696 kilometers per hour, and avoid gunshots due to the speed he reaches. Koro-sensei cannot be shot by real bullets or knives. His cells would just absorb the blow. He also has a healing factor for his tentacles, which allows him to be almost invincible. These characteristics drastically increase his strength in the form of combat. In order to win a battle, you must be smart. Against him, you must be smart and strong. As they say, the best offense is the best defense, which are all traits Koro-sensei possesses. Now let's move on to the weaknesses. Koro-sensei is a strong character, but has his fair share of weaknesses. Koro-sensei may be at the speed of Mach 20. He can be caught off guard. It has happened numerous times throughout the series. For example, when he met Karama, he caught him off guard and cut off a tentacle, which sure would regenerate, but if all 8 tentacles were cut, he would be forced in a ball state of regeneration, where he cannot fight at all, no matter what he tries. Since he can't let any harm come to his students, that is his biggest weakness. I feel that Koro-sensei has strength that involves his student, but also his greatest weakness. He also feels that his students' lives are more important than his own, which could lead to a suicide assassination. Another big weakness is water, because he absorbs water, which slows him down drastically and could easily get him killed by an experienced assassin. I feel these are the weaknesses that Koro-sensei will not allow to be exploited, but if exploited, they can be very major. Overall, my final thoughts on Koro-sensei are as follows. He's a great character overall, one of the best of all time, and in fact, he has a bunch of character development throughout the whole series. He was one of my favorite characters throughout the whole series because of how unique and different he is from the rest of the characters in the show. For the reason being, I give him a 9 out of 10 for a final rating because of how complex yet simple his character is, which makes him a great character. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed listening. Peace out.